Hello there, YouTuber woobers. It's Tuesday. It's supposed to be doing something spiritual today, but I haven't gotten it in my head yet. It's there, but it's not there yet. So it is. There is a good video out. I might just post it today. I was just thinking about, um, a lot of us are doing homesteading, and which is a great thing. I'm telling you, I think that, when you look at the people that are down in these flood zones. Of course, if you're living in a flood zone and you got a basement stockpiled with food, it's not going to be much good unless you've got it sealed up in Home Depot buckets. Um, you really should have a place to go that's above flood zone. So I guess that's what we're talking about today, huh? Survivability, and it's. I think we're getting better at it for from these kind of things from since New Orleans disaster that we are getting better at becoming prepared or having options. But if you live in a flood zone, you should have a way of getting out soon. And I can understand the history involved with wanting to live someplace that, has that certain appeal. But and this might be challenging to move somewhere that it is have less. Well, you really can't live anywhere in the country now, or even the world that's not subject to adverse weather conditions. It's just the way of the land. So as things change, sorry, I'm eating a cucumber, and I have the skin still in my mouth, still chopping on the skin, fresh picked from the garden just not long ago. And but even still, you should have a way of generating power if the grid goes down. You should have a way of getting yourself some fresh water. If the your system gets if you're getting town water or city water, you should have either a way of filtering out the crap if things happen, or a way to have fresh water, or a way to store it, or collect rainwater if you had to. You should have some options. Doesn't take much. And the water is so precious. There's so many things that can go wrong with public water. It's very scary, and you see it, just the fracking thing, and you don't find out until everybody's throwing up and getting sick, and then all of a sudden someone says, well, maybe we should look at the water. So I was watching, trying to think of the name of the show, Doc Hollywood or Doc something. It's a British television, Doc something. It'll come to me. It's an old, you know, comedy type of thing, and they had a thing. He suspected the town water, got into trouble for it because it affects the tourism. It turned out that somebody was bottling water and calling it France, shipped from France, but he was really bottling it from his own farm, and that was what was getting everybody sick. So the water is important. Everyone needs water to survive. You should have a way of having water, some way of storing it, collecting it. I mean, I have a well here, and that's why I want to make sure that if I can get the pump running. I got a 220 pump. It's not going to run off a simple 110 inverter. It's going to need a generator or an inverter that's producing 220. It's a long way down. It's 175 feet. Now there's things that you can make that'll go down, but it's not that easy. So you got to have water. You got to have some food. You can barter food. You've got to think about your safety, but within respect to that, you should also think about other people. If other people are going to join you, are you going to sit on the front step with a shotgun and anybody approaches? I don't know. It's up to you what you're going to do. I would say having community. Have some friends that you can get together, or even just some friends that build the camp for it, and so that when things happen, everybody meets at the camp. When something happens, and have it above the water table for sure. if you're living somewhere like that. Um, you know, that's the best part of taking responsibility. Survival. Some people say it's survival of the fittest. Well, it only goes so far because sooner or later everybody gets sick. Unless I don't know. I don't know too many people have never gotten sick, and the people who've never gotten sick usually get sick and they get sick hard. So sooner or later everyone gets weak, and it's so easy to happen. And usually they just say, I don't know what happened, but all of a sudden I'm sick, and you know, what am I gonna do? Um, Today I was actually at the repair shop having my Trailblazer worked on. It had an oil leak, and they figured it would take 5 hours to replace the seal going under the valve cover. It's not actually, it's just the cover that sits on top of the engine was the gasket was leaking, and that was dripping down into the spark plugs causing misfire. But it's a 5-hour job to do all that, and then they figured out that actually the problem was the cover was warped. So even with the cover back on with a new gasket, it wouldn't actually feel. So now they're ordering a cover. It's going to be a lot of money. It's going to be my solar panel budget, and then some, twice my solar panel budget, because I wasn't really planning on going going big this year. I just wanted to get something up, and I might still get something up. We'll see how things go, but it's not going to be. I think I'm just going to plan for, what I can plan for, and take it from there. So as I was sitting there in the shop doing my one of my favorite things is this here. I was wondering what to get me for Christmas. It takes me a long time to do it, but it's better than playing Pokemon games on my phone. And doing that, and I was going through my backup system. So here's my sketch. Let's see if I can capture it well enough. Uh, how's that? So this is basically my sketch. I was playing around with this today, seeing what I need to do and improve it. So right now, this is the inverter that's hanging on the wall, and it has a piece of 10.3, actually it's 10.4 cord coming off of it, but that's all I had, so I didn't have 10.3. So that's coming off of it, and it's just hanging there. And so at some point, what I want to do is run it through a transfer switch so that I can switch between the generator and the inverter. Um, but actually, I don't know, this is really in the wrong spot. But this was where I started. So here's the transformer. It's going to come in with 120 volts, 60 hertz, go into the coils and come out with a split phase. So L1, L2 with a neutral in the middle. And that will give me my 220 so that I can either run the pump, the well pump, or I can at least supply both sides of the panel. And that way I don't have to figure out which ones are which, because it's easy in here because almost everything is either my computer, those refrigerators, the stove, some lights. All the lights are LED, and the furnace. The hot water tank is on the main panel, not on the standby panel. Dryer is on that sub panel in the weeds room. The pump is on the sub panel, but I can turn the pump off so it doesn't go on through the night. I can really go without that until I need to like flush the toilet or run the dishwasher or something. The dishwasher is on the line. The stove, I can't use the stove unless I have power going to the stove. It has the electric ignition and the glow bar and all that stuff. So, yeah, and my computer is, of course, this computer setup is all on the grid system. There's other things in here that aren't, like the lights are on the main panel because they were put in prior to me buying the house. And so there are some things in here that are actually on that main panel. But unfortunately, it's only like 2 circuits. He wasn't very smart. He wired a whole run on that circuit. He should have divided it up if he knew what he was supposed to be doing. But at any rate, that's another ballpark thing. Um, so, so this is my battery bank, of course. Great artistry, I know. So if I got a regular battery inverter, a smart battery charger for 24 volts, it will actually handle each leg, each bank individually. And then it would run off the grid power or the generator power. So I came up with this little piece of art over here, um, which is a little confusing. But so this panel here is actually so in my main panel, where it comes in where I have a 200 amp panel, is over here. And then that goes over through a transfer switch, and then it goes through my standby panel. Or I can switch it over to the generator, which runs over into the other panel that's in where the weeds room closet is. And then I run into a panel over there. And what I'm going to be doing is putting a transfer switch here so that right now it's going into a 6 breaker square D panel. You know, one of those little square 6 panels where it actually goes on to there's a 50 amp plug and then the generator plug, and I think there's a spare. And so what I would like to do is when it comes over, instead of having to go into here, like over here, see, now we move over here. Scribble, scribble, scribble. Let me tell you, I was there from 8 in the morning until, I don't know, 5:30, almost 6 o'clock. It's 7 o'clock now. Yeah. 5:30, I think. My daughter picked me up. So I scribbled, puzzle, went for walks, looked at the nice Chevy vehicles, brand new. Yeah, went back to my book. So this is what I think I'm going to do. It comes over from the power room. I'm going to go into a transfer box. And that transfer box, so in the end, what I want is I could do this so that my daughters could do this. You know, if I have a lot of complicated switches and turns and blah, 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 you know, it's kind of hard to teach somebody who doesn't know any of this stuff. So the easiest thing to do would be to come over on this line down and go into a transfer switch that's going to transfer either between the transformer or the generator, which is a generator plug. Off of that generator, I'm going to have a 110 line so that when I'm running it on the generator, when I'm on the generator, I'll have a 110 line that I can plug my battery charger in. So when I'm running the generator, I can also be charging my battery bank for times when, you know, whatever, the grid's been down too long or whatever. The other side is where the transformer is going to plug into over here. So right now I have a 3,000 watt. This is a 5 kVA transformer. So I could probably make it up to 4,000 watts rated 120 inverter, or a 230 European 60 hertz inverter, and go in that way. But and then you know, this one here will power the main grid, which is really the important grid. And you know, if I'm all too long then I have to decide, how am I gonna, if I need to run the greenhouse or if I need to run um, something in there, or the dryer, for example. If we want to use the dryer, we're gonna have to have a way to run the dryer. But um, so that's where my plan is. This is probably the best way to go is with this. That way I don't have all these crazy plugs and wires and stuff like I have over on the diagram. Um, and it's probably the least expensive. I'd like to do is put in a PWM. See, I have an extra PWM charge controller, so I would like to do is use like a main contactor, like Phil was showing that he was using his on his Ames inverter, but taking a PWM charge controller, setting it up in a load function, and using it to interrupt the power going to off the inverter, so that it wouldn't suck the batteries down too low in case the Ames inverter doesn't actually completely shut down. So my battery voltage doesn't drop down below the 22 volts. I mean, it should arrow out at 22 volts. It always has. But Ames does not have the best reliability. So it might be a good thing to put that transfer um, relay, um, main contactor relay in there and take that out. But that's not necessarily, a main priority, but it's something I can keep in mind. So if I'm actually wiring the circuit up, I can do that. 16 minutes. I didn't want this to be a long video. I didn't want it to be a long video. But so that's just some stuff I was thinking about, and some stuff. The other thing I was thinking about, I'll probably put a link in there for SOTU Tuesday again. If anyone wishes to watch it, if you have any comments, feel free to share them with me or with them. And happy, 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 happy.